Patch 35 is almost here. Monolith is almost here. A viable TWINBLAST is almost here, and Christmas just got 10 times better. But before we can actually play Monolith, we've got some patch notes to look at. Now, I'm not going to go through 10,000 words or whatever it is and talk about every single hero's changes because, well, honestly, fuck that. Instead, we're going to look at the biggest changes, have a look at TWINBLAST, and then an overview. So, let's begin. Monolith has been replaced by Legacy, and Legacy has been disabled. 99% of you would have already known this. Hero kills no longer drop card power or amber on the ground. Instead, CP is awarded to kills and assists directly, which is pretty nice, but it does mean there is no CP denial. However, for the fast-paced action that they intend for Monolith, that would probably be a bad thing anyways. Buffs are also no longer dropped, instead they now fly towards the last hitter of the buff minion, so basically they can be stolen like all prime, so protect those buffs. A movement penalty has been added for backpedaling, jumping, strafing or shooting, which makes sense. Since they removed travel mode, there has to be some way of catching up to others or escaping. Tower range has been decreased from 2000 units to 1600 units, probably because the map is smaller. The next host of changes really affect the way your build will work and how you create your decks. Card points are now earned in increments of 1 instead of 3. This automatically makes cheaper cards more attractive, and so having minor variations of cards like minor costs and minor strikes are a lot better. The entire game's economy has been rebalanced with terms of XP and CP. In fact, everything you can imagine has been changed, from the amount of CP you get from sharing last hits with an ally to the bounties placed on heroes with a kill streak. No specific values here, but I'm sure we'll all work it out once Monolith drops. All the structures in the game have had their health, armor and damage rebalanced. Hopefully towers are not like a piece of paper anymore and actually hurt, while minions have come off their steroids and can actually be aggroed off towers by attacking them. Although this only works on non-siege lane minions, so please, for the love of God, focus the siege minions if you don't want your tower to die. Lane minions are now added to the wave over the course of the match, so waves will get bigger as the game goes on. Let's hope they're not as strong as the legacy minions, otherwise fuck me. I can see why they wanted to increase the wave size. It's most likely to increase your farm so you can get more damage and hopefully end the game. Epic definitely don't want more 1 hour plus match times. Tier 1 towers have bonus armor for the first 7 minutes of the match, probably because you could group up as 5 and take a tower in 3 minutes on Legacy, and it seems like a good idea to stop that from happening. Basic armor is 33% effective against tower damage, and basic armor is probably armor that mitigates basic attacks, while ability armor mitigates ability damage. Seems kind of obvious. There are also 100 changes to cards, and I suggest that you look at these in your own time because that's a lot for me to go through. We will talk about some of the cards in the future, we'll do spotlights and we'll take a look at them in builds as well, but I do suggest you take a look so that you're familiar with them on Monolith. Hurrah! At last we get to something interesting. A new jungle buff minion has arrived. This buff provides a shield which explodes when it times out or when it runs out, dealing damage in an area of effect. Attacking a green buff shielded target reflects a small amount of damage per hit. Depending on how much damage this actually does, this could be pretty powerful. I can see the shield being useful for, like they said in the blog post, tower diving or just early engagements, but maybe when everyone's at 16 card points you could give that to your carry and this could output an insane amount of damage depending on the scaling again, but the shield will be nice to keep your carry alive. They also added raptors to the jungle, which reinforce over time and are capped at 3. I assume these raptors are basically the black buff because the black buff looks like a raptor to me. We then have the river buff, which is frequently available and is completely random, but we have no idea what it actually does. It is designed to assist with roaming or laning, so maybe it's some type of movement speed. And the buff most of you already know about is the gold buff, which provides extra CP for last hits during its duration, so one you have to give to your carries. We also have jump pads, which allow you to quickly traverse from your base, but they deactivate when your first tier 2 tower falls, which probably means you'll lose quite a bit of map control from these, so protect your tier 2 towers. White camps will now reinforce instead of increasing level, capped at 5, which means, you guessed it, Sevrog stacks are now even more easier to get. Oh, and remember those useless harvesters? They've been replaced by amber links, which fill up when you kill jungle minions and then distribute the CP to your allies every 2 minutes. Enemies can steal your amber link by attacking it, so protect it with your lives or don't, depending on how much it's actually worth. And finally, fog walls have been added that obstruct line of sight. That's pretty much it for the general changes, so on to the heroes. Now I'm only going to talk about all the heroes in general and then TWINBLAST, because shit, have you seen how many heroes have been changed? Every single one, and I'd rather play video games than talk about them for an eternity, so here goes. All damage now scales with a new card stat, Power. What an original name. Damage, armor and health of all heroes have been adjusted along with the mana cost of all abilities, and the movement speed for all heroes has been increased, while many animations, projectiles and other effects have been adjusted to match this new speed. Most attack, ability ranges and slow values have been adjusted to account for new speeds. The basic attack range for all ranged heroes has been decreased from 1500 units to 1200 units. Now, TWINBLAST has been reworked. He has a new affinity, Growth, in addition to Fury. I would have liked to see Corruption, but maybe that would have been too OP. I'll roll a small edit of the TWINBLAST rework video and then we can finally talk about it.
TWINBLAST is a dual-wielding gunslinger, built to be self-reliant and evasive. Using his abilities, TWINBLAST can create opportunities to output high amounts of burst damage. Rapid fire will fire out 3 rounds very quickly. This allows TWINBLAST to quickly burst down targets. Keep in mind, these fire very fast, so make sure you're lined up to land all your shots. Rocket Dash allows TWINBLAST to dash in a desired direction. This ability is very versatile and can be used to disengage fights, chase down targets, or dodge skill shots. When you need to blow stuff up, use Grenade. Grenade holds 3 charges that can be fired out once every second. These charges refresh on a short cooldown, so you can use all of your grenades to level an area, or fire them out every so often to deal quick bursts of damage. And finally, your ultimate is Ventilate. TWINBLAST's arms transform into Gatling guns, unleashing a barrage of bullets. Your ultimate fires very quickly, so line up your target for maximum damage.
Firstly, yes, I know, Monolith, whoop whoop, but I'm talking about TWINBLAST here, so I promise myself no distractions. We'll talk about Monolith soon, I promise I'll have loads of videos for it, but TWINBLAST is looking like a changed man. He was putting on weight, but now, I mean, he's back and he's better than ever. His grenade has great wave clear with you being able to fire 3, 1 every second, and it's storing charges, pretty neat. His dash is, well, pretty pathetic, but hey, you can't have it all, right? And then his right mouse button fires 3 shots rapidly. Oh, and it looks like they can crit. In fact, it looks like the crit lifesteal meta is back if this video is anything to go by. But man, that ultimate is insane. It honestly looks like a machine gun just obliterating people. A useful TWINBLAST ultimate? Am I going crazy? All jokes aside, TWINBLAST looks like a great and interesting carry, but let me know what you think. Did the rework live up to your expectations? I mean, we've been waiting like a couple of months now, and I think Epic have done a good job in my opinion. A lot of you asked for my thoughts on the patch notes, but honestly we have no real idea what we're walking into. I think Monolith will be great for the game, but we really are back to square one. Epic have to rebalance a lot of the heroes. I imagine just like on Legacy, it's going to take a while, but hopefully they've learned from their past. This game is still in beta, and Monolith is essentially, in my eyes anyways, the start of a new beta. Monolith, however, really does need to deliver, and to get it to that polished product does take a while. The changes I saw at Epic and in these patch notes indicate a better experience for everyone. I do however see a lot of people talk about balance and OP or Deca nerfed into oblivion. This is simply not true. None of those people talking about how good or bad these heroes are have played the map, so I would not pay attention to these guys. The smart people will wait till Tuesday and then judge for themselves. Patch notes are merely a guideline, but the better players will always play and see how something feels rather than what a number tells them, and definitely give it a few games on Monolith and let me know your thoughts. And that's all from me. I'll have tons of content coming out in the next few days on Monolith, and I wanted to spend some time working on that rather than talking about patch notes, which I'm sure everyone is going to read anyways. Let me know if you're hyped for Monolith and smash that thumbs up button. Stay subscribed for Monolith content coming very, very, very soon.